Matt Glover Productions.
Chapter 12, Section 1, Telemedicine by Matt Glover. What is it? Telemedicine systems, also called telehealth, allow medical consultations to take place when the doctor and patient are in separate physical locations. Telemedicine systems are also used to remotely monitor the conditions of patients, for example, those who have been sent home from hospitals. A common example of this is a doctor-patient consultation conducted using video conferencing equipment, with the doctor examining the patient using a video feed. In other cases, a doctor might send payment details such as X-ray or scan results to another remotely located doctor for another opinion or analysis. Networking. Public networks such as the internet are used in telemedicine with appropriate security precautions like VPNs, but video, voice, or SMS data sent via mobile phone networks can be used as well. Store and forward telemedicine systems. Store and forward telemedicine systems are used when real-time communication is essential, like when test results are sent for diagnosis or for closer inspection. Data is collected at the patient end of the link by the patient or the doctor, and then it's digitalized and sent to a remote doctor. Then, results are sent back to the patient at a later date, discussed during consultation, and the patient is alerted if something is amiss. Real-time technologies. Real-time technologies are used when face-to-face communication is essential and needed. Examples include video conferencing and doctor-patient consultations. Real-time audio allows the patient to ask questions and get them answered immediately, which reduces the chances of misunderstanding something. If they video conference the doctor can view symptoms to obtain a better understanding than if the patient were to merely describe it. And the obvious disadvantage of this would be that not all symptoms could be visible by video chat. Like the patient could have something that the doctor wouldn't be able to see, which could be a huge potential problem because the doctor doesn't get the full observational aspect in this. But like the convenience overrides this of telemedicine. The future of telemedicine. Telesurgery, which is exactly what it sounds like, allows operating on a remote patient using guided robotic arms. It works by a doctor's input being sent over the network to a remote set of robotic arms which operate on the patient. So basically, the doctor inputs commands and it's sent over a network where the robotic arms fulfill these commands and execute them. A huge factor of this obviously would be the internet connection, because if there's a lot of lag, this could be really, really dangerous. And there's actually an example of this happening. The 2001 Lindbergh operation was a real milestone in surgery. A doctor in New York performed a 40-minute operation to remove the gallbladder of a patient 6,000 kilometers away in France. And the way that they overcame the factor of internet connection was they used a high-speed fiber optic link to keep the lag response to less than 200 milliseconds, which a team of doctors were standing by in case any problems happen. So over time, when we get better internet connections, this would be less of a problem. But 200 milliseconds could still be an issue. But that's why you need to keep doctors around just in case. The VINCI surgical system. So this is an example of a telesurgery system. In the picture below, you could see what it actually looks like. On the left is the doctor's console, and on the right is where the patient would be operated on remotely. And with the Da Vinci system, the way it works is that small incisions are used to introduce mini wristed instruments and an HD 3D camera. And seated comfortably at the Da Vinci console, the surgeon views a magnified HD or high resolution 3D image of the surgical site, and at the same time, the robotic and computer technology scale, filter, and seamlessly translate the surgeon's hand movements into precise micro movements of the Da Vinci instruments. The system can't be programmed, and it cannot make decisions on its own. So basically the way it works is that every surgical maneuver is performed with the direct input of the surgeon. So there's a lot of benefits of telemedicine. It's very useful for patients in remote areas where transportation to a hospital is hard, slow, or expensive. So that's a great benefit of telemedicine, is that it's really cost effective. It allows patients access to expertise that their doctors may not have. So they might have a rare condition or disease that requires very specialized treatment, And by using telemedicine, they can have a doctor that specializes in that, where in their area they might not have a local doctor that would specialize in it. So this is very useful in this aspect as well. And patients can receive medical advice from their own home, which may be really comfortable and help free up beds, as in like at hospitals and stuff. There's a limit. I mean, there's a limited amount of space that people can stay in. So this really helps in that aspect as well. And there's no way. Disadvantages. Security is a major disadvantage because sensitive data is sent over a network. Appropriate security techniques like TLS encryption or VPNs are needed. Another disadvantage is the reliability of communication networks for real-time applications, because it's very critical for there not to be lag. There needs to be really good bandwidth so that images and videos work properly, so doctors can correctly evaluate them and see them to check for symptoms. And there's also the big legal issue because of doctor licenses. A doctor might be licensed in one state and not another, so telesurgery would be a very controversial issue regarding that, or simply just checking symptoms or anything like that. Remote patient monitoring. Remote patient monitoring is forms of telemedicine in which patients can return home yet still be closely monitored by medical staff. In this, patients can take samples like blood sugar readings themselves at fixed intervals and send the data to the hospital over the internet. And below these paragraphs is a picture of one of the types of remote patient monitoring devices. Other systems can continuously monitor patients for more serious conditions, and they include an array of wearable sensors attached to the patient to collect data and relay it to hospital computer systems. Examples include sensors embedded into clothes, into buildings, and then after all this, the data is uploaded to the hospital after the devices collect the data. And they're very useful because if a patient's symptoms occur infrequently, they don't have to take time out of their day to do it. They can just live their lives normally. And here are the sources and credits. Creator of introduction and closing videos and PowerPoint presentation is me, Matt Glover, and then under that are the links that I use for the information presented in this PowerPoint.